Hi, my name's Marques. I really like tech. I try to review it, and I make videos. That's about it. Honestly, the best part is that I can sort of decide what to review. I think that's been typically when you're deciding what to review, it's like, well, what do people want to see versus what I'm interested in, and maybe I can go back and forth, and maybe I can find a trade-off. Where now I have this luxury of position where I can just decide, I really want to review this, let's make it happen. And usually we're able to, so that's been fantastic. I don't think I was ever driven to become something, but I really wanted to make something, certain things. I've really wanted to make what I would want to watch. So as someone who's always into tech and into high quality video, when I got my hands on a camera, I wanted to make a high quality tech video. That was like the #1 thing. And that's really what it's all driven by, is trying to make what I would want to watch. My motivation comes from the fact that I haven't yet really made what I want to watch. I try to make great videos, but there's always stuff to learn. I'm self-taught, so the video editing and production world is massive, and you can learn from it constantly. So I feel like a lot of it comes from that. I'm just constantly learning.
It'd be hard to ask MKPHD one question. I feel like I want to sit down and have a long chat with him. But I mean, I guess I would just ask him why technology. Like, why is he so interested in technology, and what about it? What pushes him forward? Like, why is he so interested? And where the passion comes from, I guess. But I would love to have a long chat with him. It seems super interesting.
All right, Alex, thanks for asking. I would say I am interested in tech because, well, I've always been. I can't really remember why, but it stays interesting because tech is always updating and competing against itself to get better. And that's exciting, trying to see all these massive companies put together all of their resources to try to make the best possible thing, and then putting that thing in your hands and seeing if you like it. And meanwhile, 3 or 4 others are trying the same thing. So I feel like it's always moving and always evolving, and that's what stays exciting. Yeah, I'm a big hobby photographer. It's a lot of just object photography. So it's like, it would be in the studio photography niche is what I shoot a lot, but it's still life. It's like flagging and reflections and trying to get the perfect shot of something. It can feel tedious if you're not into it, but it's really fun to get that great result. I think night mode is great because you never want to have to think about using a flash in a phone, and they all have a flash, but ideally you never have to use it. So the more you can freeze motion and get high quality stuff in the dark, the better. So I'd shoot things just like people walking around, portraits at night. And I happen to take a lot of landscapes of the skyline, so I'd enjoy that for sure. Take a selfie, but I'd be more focusing on getting shots of whatever I'm supposed to be talking about. So the selfie camera is nice, but it's my second camera for sure. Yeah, a lot of it is just trying to keep movement as smooth as possible. So the ultra steady video is a nice feature to have. I'd be shooting things like slow zooms with the actual camera moving. So instead of using the digital zoom, I can zoom in and out and not worry about camera shake. Everything's handheld, so as much stabilization as I can get, I'll take it. And then just fast moving stuff. If you're moving fast, having super steady video is great. Yeah, I have a video with not ultra steady and a video with it on. When it's smoother and it's actually stabilized, it's a lot easier to follow what's happening, especially when the frame turns quickly. It almost feels like if you've watched any of those stabilized videos, you can keep an eye on the target much easier if it's not shaking or jittery on the edges. So that's going to be what it's good for, like action video, high speed, fast paced stuff. That's what it's ideal for. I see the difference, yeah. It comes really more on the edges of the frame, but that helps you focus better on the middle of the frame, which is what's usually the subject of the video. So, Man, that's like asking me to pick like a favorite sibling. I guess I would say screen, because you know, you use it every time you look at the phone, like that's the number one thing you look at and notice. Then I would say battery, because if it doesn't last long enough to matter, it just doesn't matter. And then camera is very important for a lot of people. I know some people who don't care as much about camera, but I feel like if you ask anyone, they care about battery and screen. Yeah, I love fast charging. It changes the way you think about how you charge your phone. It kind of makes the life of the battery a little bit less important when you know that at any point you can plug in for a couple minutes and just juice way up and then have a couple more hours to go. So I have a charger in my car, I have a charger at my desk, and I feel like when you have fast charging, you're never worried about battery. Yeah, I mean, I think my perfect smartphone isn't everybody's perfect smartphone, but if I was designing a phone for myself, I would make some of the trade-offs, like, you know, big screen, probably at the expense of battery life, but like a great screen was important to me. Well, I think the first phone I ever held from OPPO was one of the first Find phones when they had a 1080p screen. I think it's the Find 5. Back when I was in college, I loved it. I was super into it, and my obsession with pixels has continued since then. Well, I really like that it continues with an awesome screen. So I'm seeing 120 hertz 2K display, which at that rate is a lot of pixels per second, so I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, I mean, I've only played around with it a little bit, but having a higher refresh rate screen is something I've gotten into the more I've seen it lately on smartphones. And it's important to me just because it makes the user experience that much smoother and more responsive, so big fan of that. Well, okay, so it's pretty flat. It has a little bit of curve over the edges, which is a little more subtle than it has been in the past. I like that. It is huge. You know, you're getting, I don't even know the specs, but I'm gonna guess it's about a 6.8 inch screen, something like that, which in my hands isn't so bad because I have big hands, but that's great. The hole punch is pretty small and it gets very bright, which I'm a fan of too. I'm just super into the high refresh rate. That's like my number one favorite part of it. Yeah, I think right off the bat, as far as 2020 phones go, this is what I've been looking for. This is already one of the best screens on a phone. Yep. I'm going to be looking forward to others that can either get to this level or push forward from here. Yeah. Using a higher refresh rate touchscreen for the first time makes you feel like you're in more control, especially when the touch response is on par and also faster. It just makes you feel in more control of what's happening on the screen. And I can describe it visually, like it looks faster and smoother, but I think that's really what it comes down to, is the responsiveness to what you're doing is better. You can watch a higher refresh rate video, but I mean, if I'm just scrolling back and forth, just how fast things move compared to my finger, pinching in and out, like the very basic stuff that you do every time you use your phone, scrolling, the fact that that's noticeably better makes a big difference to the whole user experience.